Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite Rafael Tavares talking to you straight from our show here, The Written Writ, a show where you and I and you take a journey together to become better writers. And of course, you know, we all have to have a lot of fun here, so we need to go and geek out. So, you know, it's not a show until we get the Shadow in here. Right, Shadow?
What is up, my brother? It's a party now.
It is a party now. And you had a nice party this weekend because you were at the Indie Art Show partying out, right?
That's true. All the cool people were there. But it would have been even cooler if you guys could have come. But we'll just have to meet up for the next one, man.
Yeah, adulting got in the way, so...
all right.
We all love adulting, you know.
So much that we came up with a name for it.
At least we have a name for it now. Before it was just being old.
Well, now you can be really adult, but I think when you get to that age, it's actually better. It's like, I don't care anymore. It's going to be what it's going to be.
And of course, we got not the intern. Well, you get it.
Greetings, everybody.
Not the voice behind
me. Sitting here enjoying some nice cold Sapporo Premium.
Ooh. Somebody's in a good night. I'm in a good way tonight.
See, there's different tiers of Sapporo, and I've noticed that I only like the higher level of Sapporo because like the lower end of Sapporo is like, this is kind of like cheap beer, but like when you get to the premium star and above, it's like, this is pretty good.
You see that? Hey, Son of Saint is asking, who's Shadow operating on?
Oh, I'm just getting a confession.
Ooh, wait! This looks cute.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the owl guy now. All right. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
dude, I was looking forward to seeing what you were going to do with this.
You making that one battery powered, or are you going to do it?
Yeah, they're all battery powered. I'm working on my lights, but
he's cute.
I'm pouring the resin now over the light bulbs to get little shapes, so I'm pretty happy with this one.
That's cool.
And
I took a little bit of a hiatus from working for a few days. So.
Hey,
we're not roaming if we're not roaming toning. So,
hey.
Sorry, we were keeping you in the basement a little bit longer than usual.
Dude, he's roaming. He shows up when he shows up.
No, see, I think people are starting to catch on that the only reason why he keeps showing up now is because we have him locked up in your basement.
Ixnay on the Eastern. See, now you gave him an idea, man.
Someone could just
don't let him get your dog.
Oh my God. Well, guys, we were supposed to go to India. It didn't happen. But at least Shadow was there, and he got the footage for us, and I was able to make a good trailer for it. So, and it looked like a lot of fun.
Which was amazing, man. I can't believe how quick you put together a trailer with my, interesting camera angles that I had taken.
You're getting better at giving me stuff to work with. I can tell you that much.
When you're like, like, okay, I'm gonna run through the place really quick, get everyone smiling. Like, quick, do something fun. Ralph needs you.
And the good thing is that I've started using the pictures as well. So now it gives me like so if I don't have enough video, I just throw a couple of pictures in there, and it kind of works itself out.
Nah, dude, it was great. I mean, I haven't seen so much of our comic family in so long, so it's weird, man. You get back there, it's like old times right away.
Don't worry, you'll see me again soon.
And of course, tonight we have a special guest, Kat.
How's it going? Thank you for having me.
No problem. Well, welcome back.
It's a good thing, and we like having you here because you are in the way of all this comic news type of thing. Besides the fact that you do the Kickstarter top 10, which is one of the things I love that you do because it actually gets a chance to some of these Kickstarters that don't get a chance to be seen at least,
I try, and it's something that seems like people have been enjoying, and it does well every month, and especially social media wise, I'm glad that people are pushing it and all that fun jazz. And I really try to be diverse with the Kickstarters as well. Things that are doing really well to things that might just have 30 backers. Just good looking projects is what it needs.
That's what I like about your top 10. You're not looking for popularity. You're just looking for some good Kickstarters to look at and, to actually showcase out there. It's not you going, well, these things aren't going to go anywhere, so I'm not going to showcase them.
And those are the Kickstarters that need the exposure. So it's like, if it's a good story, then you should share about it. And if it looks cool, more people should be looking at it.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. Which is funny because you have your own Kickstarter. So we're going to start off with that so we can get the whole thing out there and going. And I love The Dancer. It's a great story. It's a great hero story. And it has, and I'm a big Joseph Campbell fan, and you do have the hero's journey in what you've written. So, tell everybody a little bit about your character, your piece, what you're having out there. And I'll start putting up some of the Kickstarter stuff up there.
Yeah, so The Dancer is a 4-issue miniseries that's been done for a while, but because we've had so many projects on Kickstarter, it's slow to actually get it on there because you got to put everything in a slot to make sure you can release your other projects as well. But this is issue 2 in color, finally. It's about a dancer/assassin. When she was little, she witnessed her parents being murdered in front of her and never dealt with that trauma until now. And yeah, super proud of the book. I wrote it a little while ago, so it's fun to kind of relive it again because I actually finished this like 5 years ago. So it's cool to get it all out now and yeah, relive the experience of writing it. It's been cool. It's been a cool experience, and I'm glad that people like it and are continuing to like it. I'm very excited for people to get to that, last issue. I think it's going to surprise people. It's what we've been building towards. And it's a quick series. It's only 4 issues. They'll all be funded through Kickstarter. And yeah, it's all funded, this book. So you're definitely going to get the book. Like I said, the book's done. So that's great about it as well. It's what we try to do with our Kickstarters is that we don't really launch a book. We don't launch a Kickstarter unless it's done or close to done. Because we want to get it in your hands as quickly as possible.
And it is done. I've read it, all 4 issues. I loved it. It was great. It's funny because you play around with the fact of giving them what they want, and at the same time you disrupt things so they don't get exactly what they want. So it's a great balance that you do because you some of the things you'll see coming. And then other
things,
you're like, where did that come from?
There's a big surprise for sure. The stuff that happens in the issue or in the at least in the rest of the comic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what I really want to do is that in the forefront it's dance and martial arts, but really it's about this woman dealing with her trauma, and it's a psychological journey in that regard. And
you did a great job. I really every time you post up the stuff for The Dancer, I'm like, you guys have to check this book out. I put it on my feed because I love good stories, and anytime I have a good story that I want people to check out, I want them to check it out.
Thank you. It means a lot.
I love this. I love the split image.
That was like one of the first ideas. I was like, we got to have a cover like that because that's like, how do you not do that?
Russert always reminds me of Spider-Man, Steve Ditko. We would always do the half Spider-Man face. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for cool, sure. Yeah. I love Spider-Man, so you're always gonna see Spider-Man influence somewhere.
Yeah, there's that cover too, where half of them is like the red and blue, and then the other half of them is the black and white, and then you have like his old cast and his newer cast. There's a drawing like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Dude, I've been on your site a couple times. I didn't realize that this thing goes through the covers.
Yeah, there's a GIF. Brant Fowler did the graphic designs for all my Kickstarters, and he does such a beautiful job. I'm not the culprit here. He's the one who made the graphics for this page.
Oh, that's beautiful. Actually, it makes you stand out because it's kind of different because usually you have to go through the whole page in order to find what you're looking for. Here, I can leave it here, and you can actually see all the covers. And
we should have it the whole night. We'll see just the GIF go.
What kind of tiers do you have? Because it's always people are always looking for whatever. And I do have to admit, one of the things that you do, which is amazing, is that you have that digital bundle that you actually give out, even with your doing the lower end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. We have the indie bundle, which we get usually 15 to 20 books. I think we're getting closer to 20 on this one. I don't
Mhm.
remember the exact amount. But about 20 books ranging from things that are published in the direct market to indie books you never have heard of. So I love doing it. I do it every campaign. It shows that every dollar counts and you might be able to find your favorite book for it. And literally if you back it up for $1, you can get it. But every tier has it. So even if you back it for $500, you will still get the indie bundle. But also we have trading cards this time around. We've done trading cards for previous campaigns, but never the dancer. So we have dancer trading cards. They're all very similar. So you can have them all in the same collection and get your hollows and all that. We have a sticker now. So we have a dancer sticker. People have been wanting stickers. So we finally pulled the trigger on that. Forget what was the first stickers we had. I think it was for Slice of Life or a webtoon. And then we're like, oh, this is doing well. And Buy Visibility did really well with the stickers. So we're like, oh, well, let's get more stickers. And people seem to like them. So we have that. We have a print from a crossover we did for our last campaign with a Kickstarter called The Dusk that Alex Segura did that. So we have the prints, we have foil covers, so that's limited only for Kickstarter. We always want to give something to our Kickstarter supporters, so we wanted to have that limited cover for you. We also have a metal cover for issue 1 of our Perfect Blue homage, and that's the first time we've ever done metal covers. The January is the Make 100 for Kickstarter, and we wanted to be part of that, so we're like, why not do a metal cover? So we put that in the Make 100. We're only making 100 of those to sell the metal covers. But the only thing that's exclusive is the foil covers. We won't be selling those at like conventions anywhere. We can sell the metal covers, but they are very limited. So we'll stop making them after a while. And I think that's it. And that's all I remember for the tiers. There's a lot there. You can get a box full of stuff. So you get a specially designed box if you want all the variant covers and the foil covers and the trading cards in a special collector's edition.
Dude, it looks like you really covered all the bases here. Of the book looks beautiful. The art's just like gripping, and
Thank you.
I love that the cover we keep seeing with the stained glass. It's just beautiful, and I saw that you had that in the metal too, and I was like, whoa.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I love that cover. So I was like, let's do it. Let's do something cool with it. And the metal cover, again, I've never done it before, but I've seen other campaigns do it. And I was like, why not? Let's do this metal cover. I think it'd be cool to have.
Yeah, metal and foil covers, if they've done right, then they can add so much to whatever campaign or book that you're looking at. Because sometimes it just makes the book stand out so much, or the art itself stand out so much, which is always great because it actually helps showcase the artists.
I agree, for sure.
Here's the indie book bundle.
And we also unlocked the expansion pack. So you got like 7 more books on there. And then we have backer goals. So I think our next backer goal is 400 backers. And then you unlock Duplicate, which is a big Kickstarter book. So we'll continue to do that.
Like Carla?
Yes, Carla's Duplicate.
That's a good one.
So you have a wide range of books. So if we get to 400 backers, everybody will get Duplicate in issue 1 digitally.
Yeah, Shadow, you did something for them, right?
I was on the Kickstarter for that.
Oh, nice.
Duplicate issue 5, yeah.
There you go. Small world.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I thought so. Like when you put it up on your site, I was like, wait a minute, this looks familiar, and I was like, oh, that's right, Shadow did, because he actually did the figure with the eyes coming out that way. I was like, ooh.
Oh, so cool.
Oh, you got it, Shadow? Hold on.
Well, I got one of the minis I've got to send to her.
Oh my god, I love that. It's really cool.
Thank you.
You go, Shadow.
I like making dancers too.
There you go. We'll have to talk.
Oh my god. Yeah, Shadow is amazing. He got me my Hugbert, which is the book I'm working on. And I always like to say the Shadow, well, there goes the rest of the set. Shadow likes to make dreams come true because your characters come to life.
Oh, that's so detailed.
Hugbert, which I'm still working on bringing to publication, and hopefully soon he will be there. I'm just going slow because I'm trying to pay everybody off.
Hey, that's the way to do it, though. It's you finish it all up before you launch anything. You pitch things, especially if it's you're in the beginnings of it. I always say go that route, especially Kickstarter. I see a lot of people, they're like, I'm ready to do a Kickstarter, and they don't even have pages for their book. And I'm like, no, wait a little bit. Finish the book first and then do the Kickstarter. Especially if it's one of your first. You want to prove to your backers that you can make a Kickstarter.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on too, is because I know you handle a lot of Kickstarters, and and we've seen so many Kickstarters, and the ramping up, and we're seeing more and more Kickstarters, and some of them are better than others because, like you say, I feel like some people rush to get their Kickstarter out there before they even have enough stuff to actually have the Kickstarter. It kind of bugs me out, but what advice would you have for anybody trying to get to their Kickstarter?
Oh man, so much advice. I would say, finish your book first. Make sure it's done. Now, if money is a problem, that's why you're doing the Kickstarter. Try to get as much done as possible, because I know that's also something, and that's why you might have not gotten it done. You're literally using the Kickstarter to get funds for the book, and that's totally understandable. Just be transparent about it. Let everyone know it's like it's not done, and we plan to get it done at this point. And always give yourself like 2 or 3 months after you think it's gonna be done, because things always get delayed. Be sure to do that. If the book's already done, honestly, I always say the 3 most important things for presentation of your Kickstarter, because presentation is what sells your Kickstarter. I mean, also social media and your game there, but the big thing is the Kickstarter ecosystem and how Kickstarter features you. And if you have a really striking thumbnail, if you have a subheader that's to the point, telling you what the book's about, and a good title that tells you what the book's about, that's going to help you get on the front page of Kickstarter and get more backers and get more of the ecosystem. And obviously, just make your page look good, make it look professional, and give information. See how other Kickstarters do it. And I think that's definitely my biggest note.
Those are all great pieces of advice because like I said, we've seen a lot of Kickstarters, and some of them you're like, what am I supporting? There's times where I look at a Kickstarter and I read through the whole thing and I'm like, what are you doing? What's your story? What's going on?
Exactly. Like, also, I've seen Kickstarters where they bury the lead so much, where they're like, I am so and so. You must know me because I have 10 followers on Twitter. It's like, no, let us know what the book's about, because most of the time, unless you're Scott Snyder or you're Keanu Reeves, they're not going to care who you are, and they just want to know what the book's about. So lead with that. And then you can talk about yourself in the creative team section. You can be like, oh, and I wrote this, and that, and I did this, but don't lead with that. Sadly, no one's going to care, and they want to know what the book's about.
I have to admit, there's been times where I'll get a random Kickstarter where I'm on the page and it leads me to something else, and I'm like, what's this? Because you read a little snippet or you see a striking piece of art and you follow the rabbit hole and you're like, whoa. So I completely agree with you. You need something to get people to like come to the page, and most of the times, let me know what this is about.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be, your dissertation. It just needs to be like 2 paragraphs. Tell us what it's about, why you made it, and then get into some preview pages. Like, it doesn't have to be so complex, especially if you might not have a graphic designer and stuff like that. I don't think that's something that's going to deter people to back it. But people, if you don't tell us professionally in a professional way, the log line, then people might get lost, because I've seen that also. I've seen the opposite, where they people explain the book too much, where you're like, whoa, I didn't need to know who the grandfather of this main character was, but thank you.
Oh, I've seen that before. You're like, so what does this have to do with the story? Nothing. I'm like, what do you
Nothing.
mean
I
it has
just
nothing
love
to do?
this piece.
Is he even in the story? No, it's just the backstory. Okay, I respect that, but we need to know what's going on here.
Yeah. Communication also, and engage with your audience whenever you can. Like, I see some Kickstarter pages where people are asking questions, like no one's answering them. They're like, oh well, just
Yeah, don't ignore your audience. If you're
Yeah.
late on something, we're all human beings. Just let people know you're late on it and why you're late on it. Or just be transparent. Another flip side I've seen is people. Oh yeah, for sure. And another thing I've seen is that people don't support other people's Kickstarters when they launch a Kickstarter, and they're like, "Why is no one supporting me?" It's like because you're not part of the Kickstarter community. And let's say again, money can be tight, so that's a whole different thing. You could give $1 to a campaign, and that $20 or $10 goes a long way. Or let's say you can't afford that. Talk about it on social media. Talk about like, oh, I supported this person. This is the reason why I supported them. Through social media, not even just saying, oh, I gave $1. Not even a backing aspect to be like, oh, this is why I like this book. Talk about Kickstarter on your social media. That's always my biggest tip.
I completely agree with you, and I feel like people lose out. Everybody loses out because if you have a chance to actually spread the word on a book, I know maybe you can't afford to do anything with the book, but spreading the word helps so much because that means that you're going to get even one new person who might be interested in getting that book. We all know our friends, and we know what they're gonna like, what they're not gonna like. So if I know my who's on my social media, so if I find a book, I'm like, okay, I like this, so that means so and so and so and so and so and so are gonna like this. So let me put this up there so they can see it.
And then people see that you talk about Kickstarter, and then more people are going to want to support you because they're like, "Oh, they know a lot about Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
I should support them because they're probably big on Kickstarter." But you're really just talking about Kickstarter. You're just talking about other people, and people will just notice, like, "Oh, they know a lot about Kickstarter." It's all a branding thing, which is weird to say because, like, I hate that's what social media is. It's all like psychological, like how people use the internet or whatever. But it's all coming from a good place. If you're literally supporting other people, then like that's a good way to showcase your brand. Like very positive.
And it helps so much. It's so funny. Like we've had this discussion before on all things that come to with projects and things you're doing. It's so funny that support is so easy. Just share. Yeah, that support is bigger than actually purchasing whatever the person has, because who knows who's going to see this and who's going to be like, hey, I like this.
Yeah, for sure. Like every little helps. And then also when it comes to Facebook or Twitter, if you like it or retweet it or you share it or you comment on it or you like it, it brings the engagement up for
Yeah.
that post. So their friends and their followers are going to see it more often as well, especially Facebook. Twitter, that kind of works as well. But Facebook, especially if you're trying to sell something,
Yeah.
it's really hard to get on people's feeds. So the more likes and shares that post gets, the better that post is going to do, and then it'll reach more people.
Completely agree, because I know what Facebook likes to do is as soon as it sees a link or as soon as it sees that you're trying to sell something, all of a sudden that doesn't get any engagement, or they know which ones you want people to engage on. I'm not sure how they do it, but I know it's an algorithm somewhere, and they go, we're not going to let anybody see this one.
You know what's so funny? The ones I see that do really well, this is all I think golden information. But the ones where you're like, "Oh my god, I made this milestone." So if you say I made this, it tends to do a little better on Facebook because it's like they like the milestone stuff. So that's so interesting. But then if you're just like, "Check out my book," they'll get one like.
Oh, that always bugs me out because then I'll have friends going, "What do you mean you didn't see the Kickstarter?" I'm like, "I've had it up for like 3 weeks." I'm like, "It hasn't shown up on my feed, and I see all your stuff on my feed," and it bugs me out that one post won't show up, but everything else shows up.
Yeah, no, it shows that you have to keep sharing because I think a lot of people kind of give up. They're like, I already did this. I've been seeing it. Like you personally see it every day. So you're like,
Yeah.
everyone must be annoyed. But it's like, no. Most people have not seen it. Just keep doing it. But also don't do the same thing over and over again. I think that's another rookie mistake
Yeah.
I've seen where every day they're just like, check out my Kickstarter. It's like, no, pull something out of your Kickstarter. Say something personal about your book. Like do something different every single day. Feature something different. I literally have a spreadsheet about every new topic I'm going to talk about every day on social media, just to, you gain engagement and you figure out what your strategy is, because social media, sadly, it's a big part of all this, and you have to have a strategy. You can't be willy-nilly about it because that's a big part of where you're going to get backers.
Completely agree, and I see that's what usually gets people to like that's when the post starts to show up on my feed, is when it's not the same post all the time. It's you doing something different with each post that you do. I know it's more harder, it's more work, but I feel like it shows, at least the algorithm, that you're not posting the same thing over and over and over and over, because then it starts to actually block you even more.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I noticed, because again, you learn something new every campaign. But one thing I noticed when I started talking about like movies I was watching and like comics I was reading, because I just wasn't posting those things, and I promised myself every year, be better at social media, be better at social media, be more personal on social media, and not just post your stuff. And then I started just talking about like a movie I saw on Christmas, and that got like 100 likes. I'm like, why, what? And then when I was getting more likes and engagement on those posts, my other things I was doing that I normally would post would get more engagement, because now there was more eyes on. This is more Facebook, because Twitter is a little bit of a different beast, like because it's so active, you don't, the algorithm works a little differently.
Right.
Facebook is the harder algorithm. That's kind of how I seen, like, oh, the more likes you get on another post, then more people are going to see your stuff on their feed because they started liking your other posts.
Dude, I've tried going on Twitter like many times. On Twitter, I feel like I'm in the middle of a highway and all the cars are trying to hit me.
Yeah, that's
I love that about Twitter.
That's 100% Twitter.
And that's exactly what I feel like on
geez.
Twitter. I'm like, oh my God, there comes the car. Ah!
Twitter, and these are bad examples. One day I'll say, hey, I like strawberries. No likes, nobody cares. The next day I'll be like, I like coconuts. Wow, 100 views, 100 likes, shared by. It makes
How
no
dare
sense.
you say that about coconuts? Coconuts are the inferior fruit to the
What?
tropical trees. Okay, everybody knows that when you go to the tropics, you have avocados. Who goes to the tropics and has coconuts?
Ooh. Gotta go to Dominican Republic, man. We take them right off the trees, eat them, split it, drink the milk. Oh, man. Coconut fruit.
Oh
Agree
my
to
God.
disagree.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
have you heard of tostones?
But those donuts are good.
How do you say tostones to a Dominican person? Come on.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Listen, this is Twitter, man. You never know who knows what. For all I know, he could have been entirely New York.
And here's the funny thing.
I eat my tostones when
Exactly. Here's the funny thing, though.
Like,
This conversation would probably get so many likes on Twitter.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. This would be a hot Twitter topic.
Yo,
It might even trend.
Somebody clip that, please. Somebody clip that.
Coconut,
Oh, man.
strawberry, coconut, strawberry.
So, Kat, while we have you, let's talk about all your other stuff so that everybody can see everything else you're doing. Because I love, like father, like daughter. It's the first book of yours that I got. So because I have
Yes.
my daughter, and I love that dynamic. So let's go with that one first. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like Father Like Daughter, it's about a high school girl. Father lets her become a full-time superhero. Everyone in the world loves him except for her, and then she inherits his abilities. I got that pitch down pat. There'll never be a word that changes. Yeah, no, that book, we had a crossover recently between my writing partner Phil, who does The Haunting, who also has a campaign live right now, where they crossed over, which was really cool. Because there's a printing shortage, we were waiting for paper to print it, but the book is done.
I was wondering what happened.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, usually I get the book pretty quick, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that is the reason why. We put in the order 3 months ago, and usually it takes 2 weeks to finish. And they're like, we have no paper, and what can you do with the world we're in right now? The most you could do is update people, but there is no paper. So, but the book's done. The digital book is there, and then issue 8 is actually done as well. But because of the Kickstarter schedule, if the paper shortage is a little better, because right now, after we do this book, because of the paper shortage, we are going to do pins because we can produce those right now. So we're going to be doing. I don't think I've announced this other places, but I'll announce it. We're doing pins for Bi Visibility, so our bisexual anthology. That's going to be the next campaign. We might do another pin set that we're going to see again how the shortage is doing, and then we have Bi Visibility Volume 2, which we're going to make into a graphic novel, which is really cool. So it did so well that we can make a graphic novel. And then after that, I'm hoping I could get Life Out Like Daughter issue 8 to be on Kickstarter because, it's my baby and it's been a little while since I've launched an last issue. So it's done. It literally just needs to put on the schedule. Same for The Dancer. It's a book that's done, but you just got to figure out where you can place it all. Yeah.
It's so funny that you say that because I was actually thinking because I ran into your book the other day because I was looking for through stuff because I was working on something, and I was like, wait a minute, what? I haven't seen a book in a while for like Father Like Daughter. It should be 8 by now.
Yeah, no, 8 is done, and it's such a big issue, and I love the issue, and I'm so excited to release it to everybody. But also the crossover, because we've been waiting on getting it in people's hands, and the printing aspect of it. Things have been a little slower in that regard. Which you're seeing with a lot of Kickstarters. I'm curious to see like how Kickstarter is gonna do, because this is like not just like a my printer thing. This is like a
Yeah.
worldwide thing where there's just not enough paper. So I'm curious how that's gonna affect the Kickstarter landscape if it lasts as long as it looks like it's gonna last.
Yeah, if it's affecting Marvel and DC, because they've actually I have to cancel a couple of new comic book days because their books weren't ready, and that just bugged me out because there's not something I've been in the comic book collecting or industry or whatever you want to call it for a long time now, and I started collecting in the 70s, as a little kid. And this is not something I've ever remember seeing. I remember delays and maybe some paper delays, but nothing like this.
Yeah, no, I was just like doing my pull list for next week, and I was like, oh, Black Widow is supposed to come out. Oh, that's not coming out. Miss Marvel is supposed to come out. Oh, that's not coming out. There was another one that was supposed to come out from DC, and that wasn't coming out. I was like, man. And now they don't even talk about it being the paper delays, but that's why it's happening, is the delay delay of paper and the shortage. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening with it. The indies are definitely being affected by it the most, for sure, even though Marvel and DC, like you said, if they're being affected, then everyone's being affected.
Which is kind of sad because right now independents are on the rise, and they're actually benefited from this whole pandemic thing because you've had so many new independents come out. There's so much more interest in the independents. Kickstarter has helped that a lot, I have to say, because it's actually brought it to the forefront of people's view. Being able to see these things now, especially because I guess we've had time to actually sit back, get whatever we're trying to get done, then get it out there and try to spread the word.
Oh yeah, for sure. And also, I mean, I guess it's interesting because of the paper shortage aspect, and it's not my favorite aspect of comics right now, but Substack, you have a lot of creators doing that, and it's digital first. And I'm not saying I don't love it because like of the premise of it. I love the premise. I like the idea that creators are making money for themselves and they get to control the things they do.
Exactly.
I think that's amazing. But I'm not a digital reader, so it's a little like I don't like, even like Kelly Thompson has a book right now and I haven't even read it yet because I'm like, I really want this to be in print, and all of these books are going to be printed. They're going to be printed later, so I'm like, I'd just rather wait. Like, I think it's really cool to have this moment, but I'd rather wait. But you're seeing these things go on the rise because there is no paper, and this is a great way for people to read comics right now. So I think it's a catch-22.
I completely agree. Like John Ottinger.
Me personally, I'm not a digital reader either. I still like having print. So
yeah, me too. It's just I read better when it's like I understand more, because with digital and for me, like reviewing comics, I can get them for free, like just for comps. But I'm like, I'd rather read it physically, and I want to support these creators. So like, if I'm buying it, I want to read it physically.
Exactly. And it's so funny, like you guys were just saying, it's like John Ottinger, he was the way to get his book before was to go to San Diego Comic-Con, and you'll be able to buy his books from him at the con. Now, the way to get his book is through Comixology, and I couldn't wait to like get them, so I've even bought them through Comixology, but it takes me so much longer to read them digitally. And I'm like, I want to read them because they're great, and at the same time I'm like, but I want them in my hand. And I know that's just the fact that we grew up, with those comic books in your hand, and there's a nostalgia factor in there. But at the same time, I rather have a physical thing to read, a physical book, a physical comic book. It just feels different.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting, like going back to what you said, like you started it physically. I'd wonder, like for Substack series that end up coming out that are from a previous property that started physical, would those numbers of Substack go up if they let's say Brian K. Vaughan returned to Paper Girls and said it's a Substack exclusive? I'd probably go to a Substack and give them a little money because I want to read Paper Girls, and I probably wouldn't want to wait to read Paper Girls, even if it was coming out physically a year later. I'm like, well, I love Paper Girls more than, let's say, a new series from him where I'm like, I can wait a year. I'm not invested in that yet. So I'm curious, or like a Saga or something. Like, I feel like so many more people would go to that after they already fell in love with the series.
Yeah, it makes total sense. You know, it's the same thing with you know, oh, Comixology. You can read all the comics, you know, the old Marvels and DCs, and I'm like, I don't know, I can just go to my boxes and pull them out.
Exactly.
But Ralph, that's more work. I don't care.
Right.
Actually, I enjoy pulling my comic books out of my.
I mean, sometimes it's just the way you first encounter something. Like, for example, like I read Final Fantasy Lost Stranger. Like Crunchyroll has it on their app, and I started reading that. Was like, man, I can't wait to buy this in print. When I bought it in print and I read it, I was like, yeah, but I've read this already. I'm fine with. I'll just keep reading digital. So it's just, even though I'm a print person, sometimes it's with a lot of things. It's how you encountered it first. I'm like, I'm so used to, just checking my phone every month and just reading a chapter, and.
And
So,
webtoon has changed that a lot too. Like
yeah.
working on a webtoon book now, it's so interesting to see when I'm at cons, like so many people read digitally and don't even know it's a comic. Where like we're just sitting there and like we'll be like, "Hey, do you like comics?" They're like, "No, no," and then you're like, "Wait, is that slice of life?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, I read that on webtoon." They don't even realize they just read a comic book.
I,
I was
I,
like,
I love
"Yeah."
the fact that you have all these webtoons and these web books, you know, because I feel like it actually helps you reach out to a bigger audience, you know, and at the same
Very
time,
different
you know,
audience.
it's like the old-fashioned serial type of reading because, you know, okay, here's this section, here's this section, you tune in every to get the next piece of the book, you know, and it's an interesting way to read it too as well.
Yeah, we really want to approach new school with old school. So
Hmm.
with Slice of Life, we're like, we're gonna counter this webtoon audience because it's a really good book to do so. It's a queer romance, like it's for that platform. But then we're like, me and Phil, we're both very old school people. So we're like, let's make it very serialized, make it kind of like a comic strip in that way. But also every couple of chapters we collected through Kickstarter. So you get it physically, and then we give you an exclusive chapter where they're together in the physical book. So you can't read that anywhere else. And obviously these, people reading webtoon, they want to see them together and they
Exactly.
will end up together. But these are like little stories before they get together to see, all right, where is this relationship going to go? So we really want to still bring print to life and maybe show these people that like webtoon, well, look what we're doing. There's print comics too. This is comic books. This is
Exactly.
cool. And then vice versa for people that only like traditional comics that might find us on Kickstarter, be like, oh, this is webtoon. This is really cool. This is something different, because I think both platforms have something to give.
I completely agree. See, like people always take what I'm saying as you don't like digital. Like I didn't say that. I just said I'd rather read it in person. You know, if I have to read it digitally, which like we see with Dwarves, I'm gonna read it. You know, if that's my choice, is not reading it or read. You know, if the choice is not to read, I am not gonna not do that. Wait, I think that's a whole not there.
You did.
I got where you're going for.
Yeah. You're gonna read it.
Exactly. There you go. And I do love the fact that I was gonna say you have a great comic strip feel in your book, and I like that. I like the fact that I can look and I read that little section and I'm like, okay, cool. I need more, but at the same time, if I read that section, I'm not lost.
Yeah, we want to make it new reader friendly.
Mhm.
It's literally called Slice of Life. So, but what we wanted to do was reverse engineer a slice of life story where we actually talk about what is life. Like that's what the book's about, is like people finding themselves. Like, I think it's not just a queer story. It's not just that. It's not just a romance. It's about these leads figuring out who they are as people. Even outside of their romance. And I think that's very easy to jump into. We try to make it new reader friendly each time. And give you little tidbits. It's hard work to do it all, but we think it's worth it, just to, like, you could jump in at any point and see where we're at.
But that's the whole point. Good writing is hard work. You know,
Sure.
we can all do easy writing. That's really easy. You know, you can just pump it out, put it out there. You know, but to actually make it something that is more than what it is, it takes good writing to do that. You know, and I feel like you hit it on the head too there, where this is about life. It just so happens that the characters are what they are, but this is about life and how they handle what the situations they're in and all the stuff that's going on. And I feel like that's good writing, because now, you can bring other aspects of life into it, and, you can tell a story, but it's not about that aspect. It's just that's part of the story.
Exactly. It's not the whole thing.
Exactly.
And that's something we're really proud of. And comments we've gotten and something that we're happy is like, oh, this feels like real life. This doesn't, it feels like these are things that people would go through.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, no, that was the point. We wanted to tell a story where you can literally sit down and watch a whole chapter where they play baseball. And that's okay. You're allowed to have time where you can just watch people play baseball.
And and it's funny because we grew up with those other comic books, the ones that are beginning to become popular now. With the group of bikers who are a hero team, or the group of pilots who are a hero team, or the horror comic books that were out there, and I feel like people forget there's other comics, and I feel like now you're beginning to get a resurgence of these.
Yeah, I think what's so interesting, people still think that comics are just Marvel and DC. They're like, well, I don't like when you hear people say I don't like comics, it's like, oh, do you like TV? It's like, I love TV. It's like, then how do you not like comics? Because comics is a visual medium and it has any genre that you want. You don't have to read superhero books.
No.
Most indies don't even focus on superhero stuff. Look, I love my superhero books. So I'm not
Exactly.
knocking on them. But, you don't have to read superhero books. You can read Saga, you could read other things, Paper Girls, and then you're like, oh, I loved The Walking Dead on TV. It's like, that was a comic. You could have liked the comic too.
It's so funny when you tell that to people, because I feel like their head explodes. And as I had that conversation with somebody where they were like, "Oh my God, Walking Dead." Da, da, da. I'm like, dude, it was a freaking comic book. That's what started this thing off. It was a comic book. And they're like, well, no, it wasn't. No. And you have to actually prove to them. Yeah. You actually have to prove to them that it was a comic book. And I'm like, this thing started off over here. I don't like the show because it went a whole different direction than the book. So, hey, because they had asked me before why I had stopped watching. And I'm like,
that's me too. I'm the same. Yeah.
It got a little boring for me.
Yeah.
But
I was like, dude, the story in the book is much better than the story they're giving you in the freaking TV show. So I'm like,
yeah, I agree.
And I find
then you even see shows like Invincible though, where people are like, yeah, Invincible, where people are just like, oh, I don't like superheroes. And then they watch Invincible and they don't realize they're watching a superhero show.
Exactly. That was another time that I was like, that's a comic book, and I was like, Rob, stop that. Comic book. It was an old comic book.
Yeah, the series it was a lot like the comic too.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a really good adaptation.
And it's animated, so it's really like a comic book.
Oh my God, completely. Dude, I was still surprised. I knew what was going to happen, and I was still surprised in the first episode when they did that at the end of the episode. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. And even if I like that they changed it a bit where it wasn't just like a retelling, but
it was good. They changed it.
Yeah, just became a meme. Think.
Think or thick.
So, Kat, now that we're on the topic of the different direction that the media or Hollywood takes with these characters, I know I have a major issue with the way they've handled the X-Men and the way they've handled the Phoenix Saga. Because I find that if the story is about character A and B, you don't make the story about character D, C, and F.
And then kill off one of them.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, I understand that you're trying to make this so that a lot of other people can watch it. I kind of completely get that. But I feel like
no one watched Dark Phoenix Saga. No one watched that movie.
But I feel like they go in such a completely different direction, though.
Yeah. I think there's some, again, like Invincible. Invincible is a great example where it's like they adapted it, but they changed things. I don't want to see the same thing on television. I don't want to it's like I read the comic. I don't want to see it word from word, but at the same time, you want to see the heart of what that thing was about. So I think it's a balancing act, and I think some shows have done it right, and some media has done it right. X-Men's not one of them, or at least the Dark Phoenix Saga. But then you look at the '90s cartoon, and they did.
Oh, that was great.
Better there, yeah.
It's not a story you can tell in one movie, though. It's the problem. You can't.
Well, now they got Disney Plus, so maybe they'll finally do
hopefully.
the TV show. They won't, but
Hopefully.
they should.
I completely agree because you have to
Hopefully,
go.
it's.
Would you be excited or scared for them to do it on Disney Plus?
Ooh.
I mean, I think I'd be interested because it seems like they could go a little darker with the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
If
And
they're
we've seen
moving
them
to
go
the-
darker with the Disney
Yeah, they're
stuff.
talking about like maybe moving to Hulu, doing more mature content or something. If they can have it on Disney.
But they also have Moon Knight coming up, which looks dark, so I'm not too worried
All right.
about it.
Holding my breath.
Well, yeah, exactly. We'll see how dark it ends up being.
And Moon Knight is such a difficult character to make because it's so complicated. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go the wrong way with it, it can really destroy the character.
For sure. The trailers look good. I'm not like
Yeah.
a hardcore Moon Knight fan, so like if it does well, great. If it doesn't, it's not going to affect me, but it will affect a lot of people because I know they like the character. So hopefully it's good. All the Disney Plus shows have been good for the most part, for sure. I'm watching What If right now, and that's been a little slow for me, but like I like Hawkeye. I love WandaVision.
That's funny because a lot of people were like so like into What If, like, and then when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is nice. It's not what I expected from What If, but it's nice. I'm not gonna say that I hated it, and I like the fact that they intertwined the story into something bigger, But at the same time, I'm like, they're what ifs, and you're connecting them,
That's my fault. I didn't want them to connect. I wanted people were so happy. Oh, they're all together. No, I just like one story. This is weird. This is weird. This is weird. They don't have anything to do with each other. I don't know.
I feel like a lot of them are background noise. Like a lot of them were like a good example. One that I enjoyed more was the Captain America Peggy one. But at the same time, I felt like it was only 22 minutes. There's so much more you could do, and it felt like it was too rushed. And I was like, that's why I didn't enjoy them because they're trying to be movies, but then again, they're 22 minutes. So it's like, how much story can really scratch here? Not much. And it's different than a comic. A comic, I think the pacing is a little better in that regard, at least maybe just the way they execute it. I'm not saying you can't do a 22-minute thing and be powerful, but so far I haven't gotten to the Marvel Zombie one, so maybe that one's a little better, but I haven't loved any of them yet.
That's a good one. The Marvel Zombie.
Marvel Zombie was a good one,
yeah. Spider-Man's in it. So
that's all that matters then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Love my Spidey.
It's the only one he's in, I think. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's just, but then the other the other thing that I like to talk about is the fact that I don't know, I feel like the fanboy is kind of destroying things as well because they keep like I guess butting in, and if it's not the way they want it, they badmouth it, and I feel like they don't understand that if you do that, they're more likely not to do something than to do something else.
Yeah, I think at this point, and I'm hoping we're getting to a point where people just learn to use the mute button more. And when I say people, I mean like these production companies, because I think they definitely do hear the fan. And I think there's times where you definitely should hear the fan. But now there's too many voices, and maybe you should just do your own thing and just do the thing you're always going to do. And you shouldn't just listen to social media to dictate your next movie or your next thing. Because I see that with Star Wars. I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan, so I've been kind of watching from the sidelines with like Boba Fett stuff, and then I hear some people are like, how did you do that? And then other people are like, I love this. So it's been such a torn show for a lot of people, and every day there's something new that people complain about, and if you enjoy it, that's all that matters. And then hopefully these production companies just continue to do what they want to do because that's the only thing you should be doing. And if you do what you're passionate about, then hopefully it'll be good because you have passion about it and you'll make money. So hopefully the mute button's used a little bit more often in this culture that we have.
Exactly. And it's so funny that you brought Boba Fett up because I wanted to talk about it because I feel as a writer that the story is very well written and you actually are hitting beats as you go along. And it kind of reminds me of reading the old Star Wars comic books from Marvel, where everything had its place and you needed to wait to get to where you were going. I also feel like that's one of the problems now. We're so used to getting everything in one shot that when we're getting something serialized, people get so upset by watching one episode. Actually, me and Tony were talking about this in the green room You know, I don't understand why people get so upset. Like the first episode comes out, oh, this thing's gonna suck. I'm like, you saw the first episode. How do we know it's gonna suck?
No, honestly, I love the episode release because you could choose if you want to binge it. You don't have to watch that episode. You
Exactly.
can watch it all later. And but you have the opportunity to watch it weekly and then the show lasts for longer. Like Boba Fett would only be talked about for a week if it came out all at the same time until the next season comes out. But with this, like, oh, for a couple weeks you get to talk about the show and like enjoy like culture again and talking to people again. And I miss the water cooler moments where we've had so many binge shows, especially with our like Netflix model with Marvel, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, where I'm like, oh man, I feel like I talked about that too quickly. I wanted to digest each episode and I didn't get to.
And I also feel like a lot of the people that like the binging is the people that want to mess it up for other people. Because they want to watch the show so they can actually mess it up for the next person. And I'm like, because they want to talk about all the stuff they saw, and they want to talk about it so that they're in the know and you're not in the know because they like that feeling. And I'm like, dude, if I want to discuss something with you, I want to discuss something with you. And that's what we used to do when we were like younger and we would buy comic books every month. We'd be like, dude, did you see the last issue of blah, blah, blah? That was fantastic. And then you get that great conversation, like you're saying, that great socializing.
Yeah, like I personally don't understand when people wait until 3 a.m. unless like I get it's their favorite thing. But the people that like wait until 3 a.m. and then binge 11 episodes all one sitting, I'm like, I don't get that. Like I get watching that first episode because you're really excited, but then like watching all 11 episodes in one sitting just to like spoil it for people the next day. Like, yeah, no, I'm good.
They say that when you watch something like once a week, you retain more memories of it than when you binge something. Because I remember
100%.
I remember I had shows with Netflix that I just binged, and then the next time the next season came on, they were like previously on. I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. But when Disney Plus does like previously, I'm like, yeah, I know. Yep, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that was good. So.
Yeah, exactly. And then, there's certain shows like I want to watch weekly. Like Hawkeye, I ended up binging just because like my family wanted to watch it and I had a great time watching it during Christmas. But then there's like She-Hulk coming out where I'm like, oh, I think that's gonna be a cool weekly experience. So you could pick and choose. Like one thing is like Peacemaker's been really fun watching that.
Oh my God, weekly. Peacemaker rules.
Yeah, like I've been having a fun time doing that.
Oh my God.
Then there's a season finale, I think, tomorrow, where you're like, oh, cool. Like, I haven't done this in a long time. We're like going to watch a season finale, and that's all we talk about.
I think a lot of that gets missed now with binging because, I used to love, when the season finale or the series finale, and you didn't, you knew it was coming, that anticipation, the waiting, and, and sometimes it just sucked, but at the same time, it was possible that it would be good. Like, I still remember watching the MASH series finale, and it was such an event. It was such a thing. That with so many people, and it was and I was young at the time, and it was still something for us younger people because we had been watching the show in syndication, and in so you got a chance to like see where the show was going. It's great, and I feel like all that is lost now.
Yeah, no, sadly it is, but I'm glad that platforms like Disney Plus are bringing back the weekly shows. I'm so happy to see it. But then I think they do a really job at like releasing the first 3 episodes for people that like the binging aspect, but they're like, oh, you could take it a little slower. Like I really like that the most, probably more than the 1 episode a week where you're like 3 first and then you watch 1 each
Hulu
week.
does that a lot. And
Hulu does that. Yeah.
They did it with Peacemaker. Yeah. With Peacemaker, they did it. Yeah.
I think it's a good thing because it gives you like an hour movie, like it used to be. Oh, the first episode of the season's an hour long or 2 hours long. And you're like, ooh, and it gives you something, and to whet your appetite to make you come back.
Exactly.
Maybe they're just following the anime rule. There's a 3-episode rule.
They probably did steal it from them. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, anime, they say if you get up to the 3rd episode and you don't like it, get out. That's a 3-episode rule for anime. Yeah. Yeah. Well, me, it's 1 episode, but most of the time, like, no.
I gotta admit, if you watch 1 episode of an anime, you sit there going, I don't know.
But, a lot of times.
Episodes, and then you're like, okay.
A lot of times you're wrong. I'll see 1 episode, and everybody's like, no, dude, keep watching. Oh, okay, I'll watch it. I didn't be watching, like, boy, was I wrong? So, sometimes you're wrong. So, but I've never quit something at 3 episodes. But that's the anime rule. Like usually, if you get me past the first one, we're good.
I've quit a bunch at 3 episodes.
At 3 episodes?
Oh yeah.
Do you follow the rule, the 3-episode rule?
Yeah. I also have a bunch that I dropped at 6. There's a couple that I dropped at 12. There's a few that actually was
12 is
like
the whole
so
season.
bad was like I dropped it at 1.
Dude, I still can't watch Naruto because I watched Naruto the dub in English and I can't get past Believe It. And once you hear Believe It, in all fairness, when I saw the show in Japanese, it was a much better show.
Mm-hmm.
But once I saw Believe It, I cannot watch Naruto. And everybody's like, "Oh, Ralph, you got to watch Naruto." I'm like, "No, I ain't going back to that."
I like Naruto, but it's pretty standard Shonen Jump. If you've watched one Shonen Jump, you've kind of seen them all. It's really standard.
Yeah.
There's a few Shonen Jump that are really different. Like I think One Piece, even though it's standard, it's pretty standard Shonen Jump. They do so many things though. That just break your expectations, and it goes in so many different ways. That's one. And Hunter x Hunter is another one where.
But like you're going really old school. Yeah. That's like saying JoJo versus Fairy Tail. Like those are 2 completely different ends of the spectrum right there.
But they're pretty basic Shonen Jump. They're for little boys, you know. I mean, like
JoJo's for little boys, man. JoJo's for little boys. You hear Giovanni's theme playing?
JoJo actually started in Shonen Jump, yeah.
It is still in Shonen.
No, it moved to Ultra Jump, but
oh yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but then again, you never hear anything because he only makes like 1 chapter a month now.
Well, all right, so guys, let's jump into some of these Kickstarters here. Let's start with American Kaiju because I love the combination. We were just talking about anime, and this thing does have that American anime type feel, you know, at least with monsters, you know, kaiju. I gotta play this again. I played this on Monday. It was fantastic. Here, take a look at this.
Hi friends, this is Ike. You probably know me from Mr. Manny's class. This is my video presentation of Things That I Like by Ike. That rhymes. Some of you know I like to build and play in my Sims. Whoa! Wait here. Come.
You can do it. Slide in. To the left. Make sure you don't. That's good.
Well,
I thought that was a horror comic.
Of course not, Ike. There were monsters in that video.
Damn, that was good. You got sucked me in.
It's so funny. I can't say enough about this little series. It's cute. It reminds me of 90s animation of watching those Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s because this feels exactly from that whole generation type of things. And I know he's explained it the same way. It's a great little book, American Kaiju, and it's actually, and I like the mythology of the fact that he's taking these monsters, basing them on the American mythology. You know, the Chupacabra, you know, all these American monsters, Bigfoot, you know, and he's putting them into this story, and it feels like one of those old Power Ranger type of things where, you know, the kid gets the power and he has to save the world.
Yeah, and he's writing it with his son, so I think that's really awesome too.
That's such a cool concept.
Mm-hmm.
That video is new from the last time we saw this, right?
I was surprised on Monday when it was there because I don't remember seeing it when he was on the show and we were talking, and I was like, oh my god, that video is great. Oh, it's so cute, and since it is based on his son, a lot of what he's written, because you know that's what we writers do. You know, one of the things they say is don't piss off a writer because you may die many deaths. But you guys should support this. This thing is still like pretty. It's $348. He needs to get to 2,500, which is kind of low, and he still has 25 days to go, so he has time to build up to it. But let's get him up there because you know it's better to be funded than to wait to be funded. You know, because you know that's a lot of stress.
It's definitely a lot of stress.
Yeah, because once you're funded, then that's when you have fun with it. Even though I always say the same thing to people is like to see if a book is doing well when it's funded twice over, meaning they want 2,500. If they got 5,000, now they're comfortable because it gives them room to play with and it gives them room to get things out there and be creative. Agree or disagree, Kat?
No, I agree for sure. Like you definitely wanna get funded quickly. That way you could do the things you want to do.
Yeah, because the fun part is when you start adding things to it, when you start like giving people other things, or the fact that now you don't have to worry about it, but at the same time you can enjoy showing people your book.
Yeah, yeah. And then you get to do the stretch goals, you get to do the fun stuff after that as well. So go support books. That way they can get closer to their funding goal. I was looking at the page too. It looks good. So
They did
looks like
he
a good looking
actually,
book.
like we were talking, he did a great job with his page. I actually like when they have little videos on it. Sometimes it's too much for me, sometimes it's enough. Like that was enough. Like a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
was short.
people give you talking heads and I'm like sometimes it's the person's really animated and interesting. Other times I'm like, okay, show me what you're gonna show.
That's so interesting because there's so many Kickstarters where people are like, I gotta do the video, where I'm like, most people don't watch the video, don't worry about it. Unless you have something like that where it's like it's so
Exactly.
unique and different, like you don't have to do the video. Or you're doing something like that's really personal or something like that. But if you're just, I don't have a video for the dancer. If I'm just talking about the dancer, I probably don't need a video.
That's true.
Issue
and
2 of the dancer,
your
not
Kickstarter
issue
does,
1.
yeah, your Kickstarter does great even without the video. You do good enough job of explaining everything without
Yeah,
video.
exactly.
Yeah.
You could also just explain in the page. So it depends on your style. But I see people think it's like the make it or break it for a Kickstarter. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, I've heard
Most
that a
people don't
couple
watch it.
times.
You're good.
Hmm. I feel like as a person who does this type of show, it makes life easier because I press the button and your video tells me something.
Yeah,
um,
true.
yeah, and it gives you, especially like when you're a guest on a show, sometimes you worry you're not going to give them the right um say the right thing maybe, but then you can go to your video and go, well, here it is in a nice little show. But that's because I like it to show it off to people on the show. Let's see, what do we got now? Of course, we have Phil Russert's Tragedy because it's an amazing book, and he's on Indiegogo right now. Oop, wrong one. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Phil's on Indiegogo. He already funded the book on Kickstarter. And of course, one of the things I like about the book is that it has a great story, and the art in it is just amazing. And the many covers actually help you with the book because I know sometimes people go, "Oh, you got too many covers," but I feel like the art on these covers and the support for the artist that's happening is just fantastic.
Yeah, the art looks really good. It's nice that they're making more money off of the book in another format.
Exactly. And I like this is something new he added. It's the art book for the if you can't afford every cover, like I know as collectors we like to have every cover. You can get the art book, and the art book itself has all the covers in it. And I told Phil, I'm like, this is great because that means I can come over here, buy this book, and I can have the cover that I couldn't get.
Yeah,
The sample of the art book is new,
I
right?
got that.
The sample's been here, but I'm not sure. It looks more vibrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the art book. It's really nice.
And of course, Ricardo Silver has actually improved, and you can actually see it from issue to issue here. He's improved so much that actually going back to remake issue 1, so he can polish it off. And of course, we
Colors
got
look really good.
yeah. Of course, we got our sketch cover, and here's Ricardo Silver's cover for issue 1, and his cover for issue 2. And of course, you can get the set there.
My boy Angel is in there too somewhere.
And there's Stealth Wilson,
Along with many
beautiful covers. And so these covers are just breathtaking. And now that you have the option to go foil, it's even better. There we go. I always go to Son of Saint. That is our friend Son of Saint there with his beautiful cover for Tragedy. And he did an excellent job with this. It still feels like I'm looking at a video game first-person shooter, which is such a beautiful thing. You know, well, I'm a 90s and video game guy. But as you can see, these covers are just fantastic and beautiful, which gives you a chance to have your own personal cover for Tragedy, like a beautiful homage to Batman the Animated Series over here. You know, I guess it makes it more personal because you can have a choice on what you want. And of course, you got the mix and match here. And that's Phil Russert and Tragedy. And I think I got something else over here. Share the screen. I think it's Critter. Yeah, it is. So, our pals over here at BDI have actually created a toy for their character Critter, and this is the Kickstarter to get it funded. They are 1,300 off from getting it completely funded. They got 71 hours to go, so you might want to help them out. You can actually either get the comic book themselves, or you can get the figure. Let's play a little bit and see what we get.
That is cool.
Of course, that's if it plays, because sometimes it doesn't want to cooperate.
Oh, no.
Well, it's Critter. It's an amazing book. You have a strong female character. Very sexy, of course. That's why we have cat people in our Let's Write a Story Together back there, because who doesn't like a cat girl? So they have this beautiful figure, you know, which they made here for Critter. And if you want to get the book itself, you can. And of course, there go some pictures of the figure itself. And actually, they did a great job with this.
Yeah, no, it looks very well crafted.
Yeah, because sometimes, you know, the regular toys just look crappy, but this looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if I had the money, I would buy it. Most likely, what I did, yeah, I think I got the issue because they had put the whole Critter anthology together. So I bought the first volume so I can see what the book's about. Of course, you know, we support as we can. And that's as we were talking about before with the Kickstarters and all the other things and the Go-Go's, we just need to like help these people out. You know, you have the big guys from BDI doing their thing. They're only 2,000 change away. You have small people like our friend at Ameri Kaiju who has a great book. You know, let's help these people out. Let's get it funded. And the more we help independents, the more it helps the industry because it makes Marvel and DC try to amp their game up.
Yeah, when they get lazy,
I agree.
It's not fun for anyone.
Yeah, we don't want Marvel and DC to get lazy. So, Kat, I'm going to put your Kickstarter back up. You're going to talk a little bit about it so that we can wrap the whole thing together.
Of course, yeah. Like I said before, it's about dancer/assassin. When she was little, she witnessed her parents being murdered in front of her and never dealt with that trauma until now. It's kind of like Batman dealt with his trauma. So if you like those type of stories, definitely go check it out. Very proud of the book. And if you like martial arts, I think you'd like it. If you like dance, you'd like it. If you like both, you'll love it. So definitely go check out all our tiers. We have 14 days, so we're literally halfway through the campaign. It's all funded. You're gonna get the book. Yeah, super proud of it.
I'm putting the link in the chat so you guys can go to it and make it easier for you guys to get to. So please support The Dancer. It is an amazing book, great story. Wait till you get to issue 4. That's all I can say. I am not gonna spoil this because you need to read this. And where can they find you if they're looking for you, and any other little things you want to throw in there?
Yeah, at Comic Uno is the best place to find me. We talked about the webtoon earlier. We post that every week, Slice of Life. And then we always have a Kickstarter going on. So Twitter and Facebook are the best places to find me. I have a YouTube channel. I talk about my pull list every week. Talk about reviews there. I do the top 10 Kickstarters. So check out all that stuff.
Gotta admit, I love your stuff. I love what you do. I like when you cover covers, when you cover panels, when you cover it's a different take on things, because I know everybody does, like they go, oh, let's talk about this comic, but they'll talk about the comic itself, but you actually break it down even more. But like, what is it, the panel of the week? That's what it is.
Yeah, top 5 panels of the week. I do. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I love comics. I love analyzing comics. So if you enjoy breaking them down as well, I think you'll enjoy the content.
Oh, definitely. And if you like geeking out like we do here on the show, as you can see from this show itself, where we geeked out completely and we covered like 10,000 topics in a very short period of time, then you're going to love Kat and her stuff, because she does great stuff.
Thank you.
And of course, remember, every month she does the top 10 Kickstarter, which I think is a fantastic thing. And it's brought certain Kickstarters to my attention, which I've actually supported.
I love hearing that. That's the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm. I know that one of the ones that brought to my attention, and it was great. It was it's a detective noir type book. He's a pretty good writer. What's it called again? I'm bad with names. Well, I'll remember and put it there in the comment section. That way you guys can see what I'm talking about, because it just reminded me of the 50s and those old detective stories. It was just great. And I think he's working on the next part of it too.
Oh, that's awesome. I cover so many noir stories, so that's why I'm wondering which one it is, because I'm like, oh, which one?
Yeah. So, you guys will find out when I put it there in the comment section, and I'll probably send Kat. Oh, here it is. Right after the show finishes. All right, guys, we are at the end of the show. Who wants to go with what your last thought is? Don't all run at once here. All right, Shadow, since you were I think you had something Kickstarter you wanted to showcase, didn't you?
If there's time, I would appreciate it.
Oh, we got time for that, yeah. Here it is.
One
Kickstarter. I'll copy it. Well, let me just open it up. Oh, that's right. It's the figure you're working on. Here. Yeah. Oh, dude, man, I love this. It's so cute. It's just really up my alley, especially for D&D. Hold on, let me share this.
Light it up, fam. Light it up.
I gotta admit, Shadow, I love when you get really creative. Oh my God, look at that. Oh. All right, here we go. Here he is. Share. Oh, look, they got a video. Let's see what happens.
Will it play?
And there we go.
Thanks.
It's adorable.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Mossvale.
Mr. Shadow.
So
Tell us a little bit about this.
It's a fantastical world, an adventure. It's starring a owl wizard and a raccoon knight, and there's other critters. Based on fantastical universe, Dungeons and Dragons esque, and it's just kind of a sweet story, and I'm really excited to be working on it with them. Make them look like characters and such. These are all their designs. But it's Ageless Press, and yeah, if you're interested, please give it a look. It's a really nice little story.
The possibility of pins alone on this has me going, I want the pin. And these little figures are so cute. And I know you're working on one now. Let me spotlight you there. You can show it off. Oh,
so detailed.
You do such great work. I love the lighting. How did you do this time? Because this one looks like a little different.
I'll have a little wizard hat.
Ooh. Can't wait to see this completed. How'd you do the light this time? Because I know you're always
working on
working
different ways with this. So I poured a little light I found into some resin, made the ball, and then built it up around it. So.
Oh, you're getting more creative.
Seems to be working.
Oh no, that's great. It looks so different than what you've done before. That's why I was like, wait a minute, something's different.
Yeah, I'm trying to experiment with ever increasingly throwing together ways to make something look cool. But
dude, you always do great work. It's always amazing to see what you do with it. I love when you get really creative, especially when you add the lights to these characters, these figures. From glowing eyes to dude. So, Roaming Tony, what do we got? Do we actually have something to talk about? Because I know the paper shortage is gonna.
I don't know.
I saw the last one.
Yeah. I only type up. I did a mini review of on a page. I did a mini review of what was it? Blade Runner Black Lotus. That was the last thing. I think Demon Slayer finishes this week. I'll do a mini review for that. And I think that's about it. I can think of.
And if you don't know, Tony does a pretty good write-up. It's Tony's write-up. It's on the Bitnapple itself and on his regular page. And he's hilarious, which is one of the reasons why I wanted him to do this, because he always cracks me up. And Shadow. And Nat, not the intern. What do you got to say for yourself?
Don't worry, Shadow. You can do my outro as well if you want to.
As always,
I'll give you the. I'll let you do my outro.
Bitnapple Mondays also. Tip your
you got it. Monday 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
For coming in. Monday 7 Eastern. Writ late rights on Wednesday. Do we still do Saturday shows?
Every once in a while we'll do a Saturday show, but we've been doing the Let's Write a Story Together here on this show. I guess my last thing here will be that we are still working on writing the story together. We know where we're going with the story, and I think I put the notebook over there, which is not good. If you guys want to check it out,
how many cat girls are in it,
well, it's a freaking ship, a pirate ship full of cat girls, man. And you got the rogue cat girl, and now we have a bunch of cat people who have been in charge of the planet, or this sentient planet, all this time. And I guess I can go down the line. You also have a fairy detective, and her partners are a chameleon and a corgi. And at the same time, we got a sentient space possum that gets rescued by the rogue cat girl, a sentient ship that is up there in the sky, and we don't know exactly what it's doing up there, but it's up to no good. A MacGuffin where everybody's trying to find out what is the secret of this planet and why is it easy to jump from place to place here on the planet, and why are there so many different people on this planet from so many different places. I think that's everything in a nutshell of what's going on so far in this story as we put it all together. So if you guys want to add to it, or you guys want to know what's going on, then by all means keep watching, and we will bring it to you. This I always love doing these Let's Write a Story together, because this thing always goes in a direction and nobody sees coming. It's almost like playing D&D, and the party decides to go in a whole direction that you didn't plan for. And we all know we love D&D here. Speaking of which, of course, Madeline Janelle is the one that we are working on for this story. I also worked on her for a parallel story on her thing. I think I have it here. I think I do.
It's up on Instagram.
It is?
Or is it your version that's up on Instagram?
No, yeah, my version's up on Instagram. Let's see. Do I have time to look for this? Probably not. But if you guys want to take a look, I will be posting it up soon, so you can see how the combination of her art and my story will go. And it came out really beautiful, especially because I have more hair in her drawing of me. And with that, my friends, this has been the Written. Of course, we all know what we're going to do now. I'm going to press that button here on the side, and we're going to see what happens.